Please like and subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment. I read all of the comments. And now, let's get on with the show. When last we left our intrepid adventurers, Scala wakes up in a strange bed. Australia is at her side, as is another woman who she's never met. It's a short, diminutive woman of Sadakadishian heritage. Australia says that she's glad that Scala is awake and introduces her to her friend. Her name is Sania. She's a scholar. Scala asks about the things that were chasing her. She says that she can still detect trace magic, but they're gone, right? Australia says, yes, there's nothing here. And you're lucky that the local fire watch was on duty. Her house was saved, except for the bedroom. Scala relates the tale to the two women. She finds out that the book they got from Madrigar has been retrieved, and they spend the day in the Red House, studying it. Australia says that the reason she's invited Sania is that she is an expert in the Manthusian written language, and should be able to decipher the rest of the writings in Madrigar's book. Australia tells Sania that although Scala looks like a Manthusian, she was actually thrust into this body by accident, and now cannot leave it. Scala says that she can speak some Manthusian, but reading it is beyond her. Sania expresses condolences and says that she studied under many Manthusian scholars, so she should be able to decipher the book. Sania works on it most of the day, with Australia and Scala helping out a little bit. It's getting dark, and Australia says that they should call that a night. Australia offers to let Scala spend the night. They have enough room. The three of them break up and go their separate ways. Scala sits on her bed and tries to make some sense out of the last couple of days. There's a knock at the door, and when she opens it, she can't believe what she sees. Sania stands there in a translucent gown and says she'd like to talk to Scala more. Scala's confused, then notices that Sania is slowly removing her clothing and standing naked in the hall. She then walks into Scala's room and lays down on the bed. Scala smiles and then closes the door. Scala does not sleep alone tonight. Meanwhile, in Mountain Vale, Brock cannot believe what is happening on the floor. He sees that Dursaya has distended her jaws like a snake and is swallowing the corpses one at a time. She reaches over and pushes the feet of Klep's body into her mouth, and then as she swallows, she slowly reattaches her jaws. Then she smiles as her body shrinks back to normal size. Brock is green. He wants to be sick, but Dursaya tells him she had warned him not to look. When carrying Dursaya out of the cemetery, Brock asks if that will be the last time they see her. She coyly says that a demon of lust is always busy. They clear the graveyard and Brock puts her down. She smiles at him and then waves as she disappears. Later on, Brock and Garu tell the rest of the party what transpired in the night. They discuss their options, even the possibility of leaving Mountain Vale. The mage John comes over and tells Garu that the scroll he found was a pact between Klep and a demon. The group decides that they'll keep this piece of information away from the Kenna. Kevin says that he wants to explore the dungeons tomorrow. Mercy offers to go since he knows part of the floor plan of the dungeon by now. The next morning at breakfast, Kenna Alexander shows up and is all smiles. He says that although they had been unable to locate Esnith, Akai, or Seraph, his son has been restored to life. As he says that, Klep enters the room. The Kenna gushes about how his son was placed in the house of the dead, but late last night he was found wandering in the woods with no memory of what had happened. When no one is looking, Garu uses his elf vision. He looks over at Brock and slightly shakes his head no. And Brock understands, but they don't say anything.